Welcome to the premiere episode of This Week in Poker. I'm Chops. This is Brian. Unfortunately, Colin, one of the other entities, cannot be joining us today. But we do have a very big show on tap for you today. We're streaming live from the Rio. Let's quickly go over how this show works. It's a really interactive, cool format. Brian will be over here manning the user feedback. So Brian, explain what you're going to be doing and how we can interact with our audience.
Anyone that's watching the show can send a tweet via Twitter to TWI_poker, or at least hashtag something TWIPKR, and we'll also be looking at the Facebook wall page for facebook.com/WickedChopsPoker, as well as the live chat on the Ustream channel. So just send in questions and we'll answer it ourselves, or when we have our guest, Dr. Paulie, Jennifer Tilley, and hopefully Phil Hellmuth, if he makes it, you can ask them questions live during the show as well.
So yeah, like Brian said, scheduled to appear, Dr. Paulie. Dr. Paulie's here. He's going to be our first guest. Academy Award nominee Jennifer Tilley, and all-time WSOP bracelet winner Phil Hellmuth as well, probably later in the show. Before we go any further, definitely want to thank our sponsors. Brian?
I'd like to thank Victory Poker. They've been great to us. They came on early as our first sponsor, and it's just been really one of the most talked about poker sites this World Series of Poker, with their coming out of the gate with 20 of the top pros. Sarah Jean Underwood, which is just unbelievable, and we'd just like to thank them. If you're watching already and you have a second, just please tweet them at victory_poker and tell them thank you for this show.
Okay, before we go any further, again, thank you to Ty Stewart, thank you to Seth Polanski for letting us do this live stream. Let's get into our big story of the week. It would be difficult to really do the show today, at least, and not address the Ultimate Bet super user cheating scandal. It's a story that we broke on, not necessarily broke, but put out a version of events on Wicked Chops today. A lot of people for years have been doing a lot of great work on this. Nat Aram, Haley Heinz, Mook Man on the 2+2 forum, and generally the 2+2 forum in general, who's really responsible for unearthing a lot of the details on this. About 3 or 4 days ago, a thread was started on 2+2 that leaked the KGC, or components of at least the KGC list, and the Ultimate Bet super user cheating account list, or names that are at least associated with that, or people thought might be associated with it, with some of the money transfers, with everything about that. We had been working on putting together that story, some of it based off those lists, which came into our possession about a month ago. We've been working with Joe Seabach, who's one of the newer sponsor pros at Ultimate Bet. He helped put together a skeleton list based on some of the information that he had heard from Ultimate Bet, and had approached some other poker news media outlets to see if they wanted to run with it, go with a more investigative journalist style article on the whole story and how it happened. Eventually, that came to us. Those outlets didn't want to run with it. So we began doing some of the really hard work. We ended up sourcing this extensively. We probably have anywhere between 10 to 12 sources that we worked through on this. Some of it were people that were involved at Ultimate Bet at the time, some of them not. Some people that were high stakes pros that were specifically cheated or claimed to be cheated by people that were on the list, and we started putting together the story. So today we dropped the first part of the story, really detailing how it, based on our sources, based on some of the information that's out there as well, how the super user cheating tool came into existence, and some of the people that were involved with it from the outset. We have our part 2 finished. We're reaching out to various people that are involved or named with that, just to get their comment or give them a chance to potentially rebuff some of the information that we have in the part 2, but expect the part 2 to come out sometime within the next week. But hopefully this at least begins the first really big stage in, or the final stage of this story, and getting that information out there, because I know the poker public has really wanted it, and has been asking for that type of information. If you guys have any questions regarding the story that you'd like to ask us, please, as Brian said, please send them in to the areas where you said you could. And hopefully, at least what we can address during the show, we will address. So with that out of the way, let's bring in our first guest. He's probably the most well-known poker blogger out there. He's been doing this for a long time. He's covered the World Series, I think, for about 6 years now. And 6 years? He's nodding, 6 years. And has definitely got a lot of thoughts as far as how this 2010 World Series of Poker has been going. Dr. Paulie, come on in.
Yay.
A cheer from Jennifer Tilley, who has
Thanks,
just joined
guys.
us as well.
All right. I feel inferior. I don't have a computer or anything. There we go. Okay.
How about that? Just
All right.
look. Pretend like there's really important, pertinent information.
So this is where all the porn is.
So that's where all the porn is.
All right.
Yeah.
So do you have any
make it go.
questions to start off, or?
You know, I'm just getting caught up here on the Ustream live chat.
Okay.
And so far, it's a lot of how long will this show run today?
It'll run for an hour.
55 more minutes.
Who are the hosts? I'm Brian from Wicked Chops Poker. This is Chops, Dr. Paulie, and Jason M. Calacanis. I don't think that is Jason. We have a first question to the UB story. Why hasn't there been any civil or criminal charges?
It's a good question. It's mostly because it's kind of hard to prosecute. I know, Paulie. I think we've all covered this and written about this for
it's
for
difficult.
years.
I mean, everything's based out of Costa Rica. The servers are in Canada, so it's we're so much murky international kind of laws. It's really tough.
Yeah. So with Dr. Paulie here, like I said, you've been covering the World Series for 6 years.
Yeah, since 2005.
That's your camera?
That's my camera. Okay.
That's your camera.
So we're doing this all on the fly. So
We're doing this all on the fly.
okay. So yeah, since 2005.
And over, I'd say, the course of having your Tao of Poker blog,
Right.
you've really rose to prominence as one of the most well-known, if not the most well-known,
Oh, you're
poker
too
blogger.
kind. You're too kind.
Yeah, it's okay. So this year, you've been covering it for all these years. What has stood out to you about this World Series compared to previous year's World Series?
Well, probably I'd have to say the invasion of the Brits. What say day 19, day 20? I think it's day 19. Last night, James Dempsey came in second place. He had already won a bracelet. So we have 3 British bracelets and 3 runner-up finishes in 19 days. So Dempsey came in first and second. Neil Channing came in second. Sam Trickett came in second. Praz Bansi won a bracelet. And the third name is eluding me right now. Yeah,
Looking at the wrong guy.
yeah, totally. So anyway, you got 3 British bracelets. I was a little surprised by that, but in the past, the Scandies have usually dominated the World Series, and I think per capita, Scandinavian players might be the best no-limit players in the world. But right now, the Scandies aren't here because of tax reasons, and at the same time, too, the euro is kind of getting pounded. So because of that, the Brits are just pouring over, and right now, I mean, through the first 3 weeks, I mean, they're pretty much dominated.
Now, 2005, 2006 was really exciting just because poker was still exploding. There wasn't gaming act stuff hanging over everybody's head. Fields were huge. Event fields were huge.
It was the peak of the poker
nuts.
boom.
2007, kind of lame, kind of boring. Jerry Yang year. That was a really awful main event, the way that one shook out. Probably one of the most boring final tables that we'll maybe ever see, maybe not. Who knows?
Okay.
2008 started getting exciting again. You had Year of the Pro last year. A lot of fun. 2008, we also had a lot of the Vinny Vin story type stuff. Or maybe that was 2007.
That
So
was
we did have some fun.
2007, yeah.
Okay, so at least we had that in
Right.
2007.
And 2008 was Scotty Gwynn getting really drunk at the final table,
Right.
of course.
Yeah. But
Eskimo Clark kept.
That was 07 also.
yeah, 07. Yeah, 07 was just
It was
down
a crazy,
year.
it was a crazy year.
This year, what's sticking out? What do you?
What's sticking out?
outside of the Brits? Like, what's the? Do you think this is
probably-
exciting compared to the other years? Do you think it's kind of boring? There's not a lot of good storylines to follow.
I mean, I think the World Series is just like poker. There's a lot of tedium, a lot of boring moments, but when something's exciting, it's super exciting. So you've had, probably 13, 14 days of kind of just boring stuff, but 3 or 4 days of, the entire Rio is just insane. And one of those days was the night Durr he didn't win a bracelet. He was actually going for a bracelet and a document. And if you guys don't know, Durr has several $1 million on the line in a series of bets with a lot of the high stakes pros, a lot of the pros that you'd see on high stakes poker or that play in the big game here in Vegas. So that night was really interesting because he makes the final table of a document at the same time as the 10K Stud 8 Championships going. And that
So the high stakes guys are
yeah,
over there.
exactly. They're 30 yards away. All of Durr's friends are here. It was Sunday night, so after the Sunday Million and all the Sunday tournaments ended, all the online kids came here. They're drinking it was like a soccer game or something. And whenever Durr won a pot, you could hear it. It was echoing through the entire room. So the other pros, if they weren't following it on Twitter or on their iPhones or refreshing poker news, they could hear it. I mean, they knew what was going on over there. So it was an interesting sweat because you never see these pros act nervous or anything at the tables. But this is the one time you could see them pacing around, a little nervous, really fidgety. It was kind of exciting, actually.
Do you think that's probably been the most exciting day so far of the series?
Probably, yeah. I mean, that was one of the most exciting final tables I've ever seen, and it was supposed to be just an innocuous, I think it was a $1,500 event. I mean, no one thought there'd be a big name at the final table, let alone Durr, and with so much money kind of off the table in play.
Yeah, it's more than the main event money.
When you think about it, yeah.
Yeah, the rumors for our viewers that aren't totally familiar with the story. So, Tom Durr, as Paulie was saying, has a lot of bracelet prop bets on the line. And it was amazing that he made the final table in one of these Donkerman events just because the fields are so huge. And from around 30 people on, he was the chip leader, really down to the final 3 or 4 people. And all these high-stakes pros had these bets on it. It's been written about or rumored that it's up to maybe $9 million that he could have won. There's been a lot of rumors that equity was involved in these bets, and that could have, over the course of years, played out to a lot of money.
And it just wasn't this year. He has a bet over the next 2 or 3 years, a series of bracelets.
Yeah, so that could have potentially shifted the complete dynamics of the poker economy over to one individual, which is really amazing. And from just a pure excitement level, that was one of the most exciting periods of time in my years of covering the World Series too. That was just amazing.
Right. I mean, the money could have gone from one side of the room literally to the other.
Yeah.
From
and like you said, those high stakes pros were sweating it.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen them do that. I mean, I've seen Ivy occasionally sweat a basketball game, but nothing to this extent in poker. Yeah. I mean, when's the last time you saw a guy like Patrick Antonius or David Benjamin just rail a tournament as it's going down to the final 2 or 3 tables? They don't do that. But they were definitely sweating this one.
Another big story that was supposed to happen, and maybe Jennifer Tilley, when she joins us, will talk to us a little bit about it as well. But it was supposed to be the year of the woman. Not so much so far. What do you think? Did you think that women were going to have a bigger showing as far as capturing bracelets coming in, or is this kind of par for the course on what you were saying?
I don't know. I blame the Brits. I think the Brits just come over here and just dominated the fields. I don't know. I mean, Liv Bory went really deep. Vanessa Selfs went pretty deep in events just prior to the World Series, which kind of fueled all this hype for Year of the Woman. I know Jen Harmon made a final table. JJ Liu made a final table already this year. And I guess you can't count the ladies event because 9 ladies made the final table. But aside from that, no, women haven't really done anything this year, but I mean, it's only day 19. You still have plenty of time left.
Around the women's event, there was a lot of controversy about all the guys playing and Sean Deeb, who I actually thought the Sean Deeb was that photo. I actually thought that was a girl when I first saw it.
Yeah, the dude looks like a lady.
Really did. I mean, that's wow.
I mean,
even almost as much as the caption in this photo. If you go to wickedshopspoker.com, we have a caption in this photo that congratulations to our. If you know the one I'm talking about, congratulations to our site visitors. Is that some of the finest work that you've ever done on a caption in this photo before?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Some of the best comments I've seen.
He's more of a man than Sean, too.
Yeah, what are we up to now?
Yeah. And
13 comments.
13 comments. They're all hysterical. So well done. But all the talk about the guys playing the event.
Right.
What do you think? I mean, do you think guys should be playing in it? And then you've got the Daniel Negreanu and Andy Duke.
Right. I mean, the bigger issue is whether or not women's events should exist. But I'm not going to argue that because it's not my decision. Mm-hmm. So because it's in place and it is here, I feel as though as a guy you have to respect that because a lot of women have worked really hard to bring poker where it is today, like someone like Linda Johnson. And I'm not talking just about for women in poker, but for everybody. So because of that, I feel as though you just have to respect, what they've done. And, as much as a lot of people have beef with the WSOP, that's one of the few long-standing institutions that they actually, stuck to. They moved everything from Harris here, but they still kept the open events and the ladies event and the seniors event. So because of that, I mean, are you guys going to play the seniors event?
No.
No. Okay.
Scarily
I'm
closer
I'm
to that.
I'm
I know,
close,
you're
I'm
gonna
close
do
to it.
it,
I'm
but
gonna
I mean, it's the
get my
same
ARP
thing.
card first,
Right.
and then
Right.
Then I'll play the-
So I mean, the bigger issue, of course, is whether or not it should exist. But as long as it exists,
real quick. I just want
say
to
that.
jump to some questions real
All
quick.
right. I like questions.
From Ethan GJ, why isn't more poker available to watch online? Is there any reason why we can't have a webcam at these tables throughout the WSOP?
Because of the dial-up connection in Nevada. So I think that's it, right?
Super slow.
That's a really good question.
Even if we can't see the whole cards.
Maybe if you could bring the NGC in here or one of those.
Yeah, some of it as far as just
think that's
like
what it is,
the
yeah.
final tables. I know it's been an issue of economics. Sites have done it before. I think Bluff's done it, or at least tried to cover it before,
past.
in the past. And it's just hard to make money off of it, and it's a money drain. Now, if there's a way to figure out a way to make money on this, it's going to happen more. But yeah, I mean that's really the biggest reason so far, at least for the final table stuff, not necessarily just
I mean,
a webcam up and
I think
filming.
we're a year or two away from having everything streamed
Should be great.
live. Yeah, it should be pretty cool.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, there was one more I was trying to find. Someone was asking about the odds on the Durr prop bet.
It's like 3-1 or 3.
It's like 3.25 to 1.
It depends on
Who it is.
exactly what. But straight up for bracelets, it's about 3.2, 3.5.
And before we move off the women's event, so you're saying guys should not play?
Yeah, you got to respect that.
Gentilly,
I mean,
over there,
different-
guys allowed to play in the women's event? Yes or no?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
See, Jenny.
Everyone's getting so politically correct, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and have you been following the kind of back and forth with Daniel and Annie?
The answer is no, I haven't. I've been watching the World Cup. I have a lot of action. Look, if I had bets on whether Daniel and Annie would win an argument, then I would pay attention. Right now, I have more money on the World Cup, so that's really that's what I wake up to watch.
Who do you
So,
think would win an argument between Daniel and Annie?
Oh, wow. It depends. How many rounds?
I don't know. We're thinking about doing it live here on This Week in Poker.
I think it'd be pretty interesting. I think it was like a yo mama joke kind of thing.
Yeah.
I would think Daniel would win, but straight up like some hardcore
Debate
I think
with
Annie,
points involved.
I think Annie's got the edge. She's
Yeah.
she's pretty intelligent. So
Yeah, here's another question from Twitter. Seems like non-hold'em games are gaining in popularity. Is this carrying over to ring games?
wow. Well, there's a bunch of PLO games here running, which is pretty cool, I think, and they have this 5-card PLO game as well. So I'd say yes, it is. But the no limit cash games at the Rio are sick. Come on down, bring all your money. You will triple up, quadruple up. I swear to God, I've seen some of the worst players in the world just clean up in there.
You're one of we've called you over the years one of the hardest working guy in poker.
Yeah.
Do you have time to go play the games? Do you play them?
Absolutely not. I mean, I wish I did, but I can't because I'm doing all your bitch work. So I don't really have the time. And I mean, this year it's the World Cup, so any free time, I'm just kind of.
Speaking of the World Cup, 'cause
Yeah.
you probably do have money on that.
Hey, what's the score?
We just got an update from the third entity who's not here today. He's at home, sick from his return trip from South Africa. But he just said, "Tell Paulie that Brazil versus North Korea is 2-1."
2-1.
No.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm sweating the over on that, but yeah. Anyway.
All right.
Okay,
Now you
that's
have
it.
no. We got one more for
We got
you.
one more thing?
because we want you to
Alright.
plug your book.
Oh, how about that? Las Vegas comes out next week.
Tell us what can a lot of people watching this probably don't know much about it. Let's assume that they don't. So
Okay, let's assume you don't. I wrote a book called Las Vegas, and it pretty much encapsulates about my times my time in Las Vegas covering the World Series of Poker from 2005 through 2008. So it's a nice collection of stories, adventures, misadventures, some of my more funnier moments, some of the more compelling moments that happened in poker over the last 4 years, or in that span.
what's one of your favorite stories that's in the book that you never wrote about on
I'll
tap?
tell you that I never wrote on tap.
Yeah, that you never wrote on tap.
Wow. Yeah, no, I can't say that on this webcam. You'd have to buy the book. That's the
Okay,
only
then
thing.
what's one of your favorite stories?
Oh,
that is on
probably
tap?
because Chantilly's here. The day that Phil Locke had played Johnny Chan heads up for a bracelet, it was for his 10th bracelet. Jen was going deep in the ladies' event at that time.
The same day?
And it was the same day, but they had paused it, if you remember, right?
Yeah.
And Jen came back the next morning to play it out. I think Carlos Mortensen's wife was at the table at that time. But originally, ESPN had filmed a different table, and the Johnny Chan Phil Lack table was a secondary table. And this was in 2005, before they had this really elaborate setup here. So they're playing it on just some random table, and more people were sweating that event than the actual one that ESPN was taping. So it was pretty crazy. As soon as the ESPN final table was done, they got everyone off the stage, paused the other event, put Johnny and Phil heads up to play each other, and I think it was only 7 or 8 hands, and Chan won, became the first player to win 10 bracelets, and Phil was being Phil. He was classic Phil that day, so it was a lot of fun.
What do you think's happened to Johnny Chan? We haven't heard much from him this year
Johnny Chan,
at all.
Wow, there's a lot of speculation. I think he put all his money into that all-in energy drink, and
He's all out.
He's all out. So I don't know, to be honest with you. So I mean, you know how it is. Priorities change.
Yeah.
I actually have no idea. So, but if you do, you should send us a Twitter to find out if you know.
Yeah, if you know what Johnny Chan, if you know what's going on with Johnny Chan and why nobody has seen him this year,
yeah, maybe he's been hanging out with Eskimo Clark or who knows. Vinny Vin, yeah.
Any other questions?
That's it.
No, I do have another update. I have a final score, and it looks like Hot Chicks and Thongs beats communism.
Once again.
Once again. 2
Once again.
2-1, I believe.
Well, there you have it.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us. How can people buy your book?
All right, if you go to LasVegasBook.com, next week you'll see exactly how to buy it. Or if you just go to my site, Tower Poker, you'll see links to, of course, how to buy it. So,
great.
Yeah, next week.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, that's it. I just sneak off.
That's it. You just sneak off.
That's it. I'll see you guys later.
We're live. There's no commercials.
Well done. Quick word for the sponsors again.
Yeah, just thank you, Victory Poker. If everyone could do us a huge favor and tweet Victory_Poker and thank them for supporting This Week in Poker. And they have a great promotion going on. If you go to victorypoker.net and submit a video of yourself, they're actually going to be picking one winner by I think the end of July, and the prize is $100,000 in tournament buy-ins, a furnished apartment in Vegas, and a car, and of course you get to be a member of Team Victory and hang out with Sarah Underwood. And if you just want to learn more about Victory Poker, just Google Sarah Underwood Poker.
Yeah, or go to wickedshopspoker.com, and in our search box, just type Sarah Underwood, and there's some great pictures that you'll probably enjoy. And there's worse ways to spend 5 minutes. All right, next guest, Academy Award nominee, friend of Wicked Chops, great podcast last week, Jennifer Tilley.
I'm just chilling, enjoying my free Aquafina. No real water for me. I'm fancy.
How you doing? I feel like we should have some
I'm
wine in
good.
front of us. And
Yeah, I know. That would be nice.
yeah. So today is the last day of TOC voting.
Yes, you know what? Last night I went on the TOC website to see if I was still in the top 50. And every day I think like, oh my God, I'm not there, but your name jumps
Right,
around.
they're jumping around.
And there was like things saying voting is closed as of June 15th. Midnight. And I thought, ran and I checked the calendar, and I thought maybe I'm confused. And then I checked the computer at the bottom, and it said that it was not June 15th midnight yet. So I don't know. I think they closed it a day early. So I'm just wasting my time being here. But anyway.
I went on last night as well.
Did you, right?
And I saw it was closed, and I was like, God, I hope Jennifer doesn't see that, because she's
Yeah,
going to cancel tomorrow.
I would have canceled, but you guys are so nice to me. I thought, well, I'll just go in and be interesting.
And I'm like, we need to email Ty, because
Right.
June 15th at
midnight. That's tonight. And I called up Phil, and he's getting a little bit stoned, or he was enjoying dinner, and he was with 3 other friends who were also enjoying dinner. And there was a big discussion, like June 15th midnight. Is that the minute it turns June 15th, or is it 24 hours after that? And the general consensus was among this fabulous brain trust is that June 15th midnight is the very last minute of June 15th.
Right.
So
that's what it's. And it's the whole AM PM thing.
Right.
It's always like.
That's right. But it's important to me because here I am on your webcast trying to get that last 3 votes that's going to put me over the top.
All the buzz is around you.
The buzz.
So.
You know what? I think I'm drawing dead because this is my theory. I'm not a conspiracist, but I do think that some of the websites have some kind of computer program where they put in all their sort of sponsor pros, because it stands to reason if they can see other people's cards, they probably have like all these. They've invented these little robots that are like vote for so and so, vote for so and so over and over and over again.
You're getting votes as we speak because
really?
the comments. You came on the set. It says, wow, she's hot.
Thank you.
I want to make a point. This is from this Jason M. Calacanis, which is not the real Jason. But I want to make a point that I made my wife go see Child Play 3 in the theater just for Jennifer Tilly.
I don't think I was in that. I was in like Child's Play 7. I killed the Chucky franchise, right?
I never realized she was the voice of Joe's wife, Bonnie.
Yes,
I was. On the Family Guy, for you Family Guy fans.
You know what? I did in Arizona, Kevin O'Donnell had this charity tournament for this guy in a wheelchair. And he said, oh my God, I'm so happy to meet you because you're Joe's wife. And you know, Joe is this cop in a wheelchair that's like a sort of superhuman. And then I felt really bad, and I didn't want to tell him that after Bonnie has the baby, she runs off and has an affair with Frenchmen and dabbles in lesbianism. And I felt really bad, like, oh, he's in for a really bad surprise. His idol is going to get screwed by Bonnie. But, you know, she comes back to the roost. She's pregnant again. I hope I'm not giving anything away.
Any questions?
You know what? I almost didn't want to come in because, like, sometimes when I go on Howard Stern, I say, I'll go in, but I'm not going to take any phone calls because people say, oh, there's Jennifer Tilly. I'm going to call in and say rude things. And then I thought, oh, these guys are really nice. And if rude things come in on the Twitter, they're not going to like throw it out and tell me what people are saying. So I know you'll just read the nice ones and the nice questions. You're not going to be reading questions like, why is Jennifer such a dunk? Or is Jennifer dropped on her head when she was a baby? Does that explain the way she is?
This is only going to help get more votes for you.
Yes.
And I do have confirmation that Jason M. Calacanis, and I should have known M is for McCabe. It is the real Jason.
No, I don't know this person.
Jason is, along with Mark Jeffrey and the rest of the crew at This Weekend, is responsible for this show. He runs.
Oh, fantastic!
Mahalo.
He created This Weekend with Kevin Paulie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I saw that show, and you know what? I saw Kevin Pollak about 3 weeks ago when I did Craig Ferguson, and he came up and he talked to me. He seemed genuinely happy to see me. But in Hollywood, everyone's really good at being genuinely happy to see their cronies. Yeah. We did a movie once called House Arrest, where we were all locked in the basement by our kids. It was really a truly horrific movie, but we bonded from the experience.
So Jason is a big Jennifer Tilly fan.
Thank you.
He says that I would also like to say that Bound is the greatest film in the history of cinema, period.
Oh, thank you.
So.
That was Wachowski's made that movie. You know how you have a baby because your other child needs a bone marrow transplant, and so you have a baby, so you have a bone marrow match for your child that needs to transplant. The Wachowskis made Bound because they'd already written The Matrix, and The Matrix the budget came in at $120 million, and they wanted to direct it to protect their vision. And their agent said, nobody is going to let two guys who have never directed a movie before direct a $120 million movie. So they made Bound specifically so they could show that they could direct a movie, and that was their calling card. And they took Bound around to all the studios and said, look, we made this. Now can you give us $120 million?
It still took like 5 years to get The Matrix, though, from the time that Bound
they had to carve down the budget from $120 million to $60 million, which is a relative bargain in terms of Hollywood blockbusters. And I remember I was standing, I feel like I was responsible, but did I get any thanks? Did I get a cameo in Matrix? I was standing outside the Chateau Marmont on the curb with Keanu Reeves, telling him how brilliant the Wachowskis were. And I had just gone to the studio to do not to do a little looping, to sort of hang around and, show him I was still young and athletic and relatively attractive, because they were still casting The Matrix. And I was like the best, I was the ideal actress when we were doing Bound. And they tested Jeannie Gershon, but they didn't test me. But now I look and I see, yes, they wanted that sort of lean, athletic build sort of person. But anyway, so I had just come from the studio where they were really depressed because The Matrix was going to go and turn around, because Val Kilmer wanted to do it, but if they couldn't get Keanu Reeves, they didn't want to do it. And then coincidentally, I ran into Keanu Reeves, And I told him how brilliant the Wachowskis were, and a week later he had signed on to do it, and the rest is history.
So they actually really
Larry
wanted
would never have
Keanu
gotten
Reeves.
the money for that sex change if it hadn't been for me. They really wanted him. They wanted from the beginning, and people don't remember because Keanu Reeves is sort of a brilliant oddball. He's like a Johnny Depp, and he's had swings in his career. I mean, people think he's always been on top, but he went from being sort of a really, really big star with Speed, and then his
You had like that
I
Johnny
know, I'm
Mnemonic
blocking
phase.
my face, and then he took kind of a dip. So he was sort of in a dip.
Point Break still
Yes.
Point Break
was one of the best.
But that was at the peak.
Yeah, people didn't understand why the Wachowskis wanted him, but they were like, if we don't get Keanu, it's going to be nothing. Also, too, with Bound, apparently if I didn't do Violet, they weren't going to do it. And I wanted to do Corky, but apparently if I was playing Corky
Right.
and someone else was playing Violet, they didn't want to do it. They always get what they want.
Has there ever been discussion of Bound 2?
Yes, there has, and me and Gina said we only wanted to do it if the Wachowskis were doing it. I got some cheesy soft porn script, and they're like, "This is Bound 2," and I was like, "No, it wasn't. It's a porn script, and you just changed the
gonna
names
go right to
Corky
Cinemax."
and Violet." Yeah, I think that sometimes it's really bad to revisit your old triumphs, especially like 15 years later. I think it's sort of like you've got Basic Instinct. And then you have Basic Instinct.
like 20 years later.
Oh, no, Sharon, why?
Yeah.
It's sort of like we had such a good memory. And that's the same with, I say there's Godfather 1 and Godfather 2. And I don't count Godfather 3. That's really not part of the Godfather saga.
Right, and Sofia Coppola in that one.
Poor
I
Sophia.
know.
She's a
She
great
tried.
filmmaker.
Yeah, since then she's done great. But
So 2 questions.
Yes.
Your favorite movie and your favorite poker hand.
Well, I'd say my favorite movie would have to be Godfather 1 and Godfather 2, and I count those as one movie,
yeah.
one big, delicious, chunky movie. It's so brilliant. You can watch it over and over again, and even though a lot of us don't have experiences with the mob, there are lessons in that movie about family and morality that you can apply to everyday
Right.
life. Like, to this day, I do not sit in a restaurant with my back to the room, just in case somebody wants to shoot me and I die in my spaghetti. And my favorite poker hand, and I hate to give this away because I think this will contribute to my reputation as a dog. I love 2-3 suited under the gun, because the fact of the matter is, if you flop something, nobody will ever put you on that hand, and if you don't flop something, it's really easy to get away from it. I once flopped a full house with 2-3 suited and felted somebody who just could not figure out what I had. So I think that this is my theory about poker. My theory about poker is there's very good poker playing, and then there's very bad poker playing, and that's why sometimes it is hard to play an event like a celebrity event, because if you're playing with somebody like John Fan or Gavin Smith and the flop comes King 8-2, with them, they could very easily have 2 pair. If you're playing with a celebrity or a beginner, they could also have 2 pair.
Right,
but if you're playing with somebody that's a pretty solid player and they're betting, they have a king with an ace kicker, they maybe have a set, they don't have 2 pair. So I went to the museum, the Picasso Museum in France, and I was very struck by the fact that in the very beginning, he was a great realistic artist. There were beautiful landscapes and there were people that looked like people, and as his life progressed, the women started having like 3 eyes and 7 breasts, and because that's the way he saw the world. And I realized in art, you can't just start out painting like a 7-year-old and say, I'm a genius. You have to have art theory. You have to understand the basic tenets and history of art before you can deviate from that. And that's what I also think third level poker playing is, where people have a meta game. It's like, yes, they understand you're not supposed to play this hand, but they're choosing to play this hand because they deviating from the norm, and that way people give them a lot of action because they're like, oh my God, this person plays anything, or they're frightened of them. They're like, with a normal person, and a flop comes like 7-3. 6, they say they couldn't possibly have hit that flop, but with somebody that's crazy, they're like, oh my God, they probably have quads.
Now, meta poker game sounds like a Phil Luck.
Yes.
Not invented term, but term.
I picked up all these terms from Phil and the boys, like meta poker game and enduro session, and he has a lot of slang that he makes up that everybody picks up all around the world. And Phil's a very brilliant person that looks at the world in a very different way.
How much poker do you guys talk?
We don't talk. we do talk a lot of poker, but we try to stay away from it because now I'm at the point where I'm like, I can do it myself, and we argue a lot. Like, we try not to play at the same table in cash games because he always tries to have a little lesson. Like, when I take a big hit, he wants to have like a little lesson, like,
Right.
and the moral of this is, never fire 3 bullets or don't play 2-3 suited under the gun. And I'm all very like, I can play my own game. I know what I'm doing. And my big thing is like, I'm not a nit like you. And it's funny because Phil usually comes out ahead, from his, and he's not really a nit. He has a reputation as a nit, but he's a nit with moves. And he said that they have a term for that. They call it squeezer with moves. That's the most dangerous kind of player whatsoever, because whenever you think like, oh, they hardly ever play any hands, and they're usually pulling some
Right.
massive bluff on you.
Right.
But he's taught me a lot of things. He says never show your hand. Sometimes, when you're a girl, you don't want people to feel bad. And you're like, oh, look, I had a full house. You made a good laydown. And he said, every time you show somebody your hand, they're unraveling your game. And I've noticed that a lot of times if I'm at a poker table and somebody shows a bluff, you say, they're trying to show that they have a loose image. So you say, wow, so they're actually a tight player, and this is one of the few times that they pulled a bluff. And so they're trying to show that they're very loose. And then a loose player will usually show that they had the nuts because they're trying to convince you that they always have the nuts whenever they're playing their crazy, wacky
Right.
hands. And so no matter what somebody shows, you can get information from it. So I never show my hand unless I'm playing with a bunch of babies and I want them to feel good. At the celebrity tournament, I always order shots for the table, and I always show my hands because I'm never going to win that anyway, so I might as well have a good time. I'm always torn between the desire to make everybody like me because I'm an actress, and actresses need lots of validation and actually play well. And I think if you play well, everybody hates you. And I know I'm playing well when I just feel the animosity rising like a toxic cloud off the table. If everyone's like trying to get me and being rude and throwing cards at me, I know I'm getting to them because I'm not letting them get what they want. I'm re-raising them or having the best hand.
We'd like to treat this a little bit as
Yes.
the Get Jennifer Tilly on the Tournament of Champions telethon right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
Even though the voting is closed.
No, it's not
You got
closed.
it. It's
Okay, but
open.
they
It's open.
reopened it.
No,
They
they
Right,
reopened. So
right, yes.
people could go to
Right.
WSOP.com/TOC
/ yes.
/ is it a forward slash
Yes.
or Charles? /TOC.
That would be, just so everybody knows, that's Gluten-Free Charles, our photographer, who is
Gluten-free.
responsible for all the photos that you see on Wicked Chops, including today's Caption This and all the girls on the rails.
I like those photos.
Gluten-Free Charles,
He
everyone.
gives the girls on the rail a soft glow.
Yes.
I'm like, I want to be a girl on the rail. Look, they have airbrushing.
Well,
Or,
maybe-
I know it's just the lighting.
Maybe after we do this, we
Yes.
can do a Girls on the Rail with you as our last Get You on the Tournament of Champions.
Oh, I don't
Get
know.
out the vote effort.
Oh.
But why should people be voting for you for the Tournament of Champions?
Well, first of all, a lot of times I've heard people say the Tournament of Champions, that's the Tournament of Champions should just be for legitimate champions. But I say the Tournament of Champions is open to everybody that has a bracelet. And I think sometimes people get very, very passionate about poker and try to marginalize. I'm just saying this right now because I've read with the whole debate about the ladies event. People say it makes me sick when they call Jennifer a bracelet winner.
I have a really good question here from
Yes,
the from
okay,
a viewer
right.
too, actually related to this. So you won your bracelet in the ladies' event.
Fair and square, I beat out 600 women to win that bracelet.
2005.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
What would you say to those like Daniel Negreanu,
Right.
who said that it doesn't count as a real bracelet?
Well, I think it's ridiculous because I think if you're saying that is very patronizing to women.
Definitely.
I think that a lot of times people should focus on their own accomplishments and not try to marginalize other people's accomplishments. Like sometimes people will say, oh, this show, let's say, for example, even the main event. The main event you'll see all the time, oh, that person was lucky and they're a terrible poker player. I don't think anybody can be that lucky that they can beat out 6,000 or 7,000 people and survive that long being a terrible poker player. And the same thing with the ladies event. I think it's very patronizing to ladies to say a woman, for example, this year the field was over 1,000 1,000 people. A woman who wins a ladies event, it's not a real event. They beat out 1,000 people to win it. All these $1,000 tournaments, there's lots and lots of people. I sit down with lots of people that don't know what they're doing, and tourists who've saved up all their money, people whose dream it is to play in the World Series of Poker. There are bad players everywhere. Phil and I travel to Europe to play in some of these tournaments. I'm not going to say which ones, but we hear it's a really soft field. Does that mean that the bracelet that we win, or the trophy,
Right.
or the circuit ring, or whatever we win is not legitimate because it's a softer field and they don't speak English? No, it's not. I could even argue that, I don't know, I think there's some tournaments like Deuce 3-7 or I don't even know what they are, Raz. It's like, should I say, because I don't know what they are, and maybe only 135 people
Right.
into the tournament, that's not a real bracelet. You could say, if there's not more than 500 people in the tournament, that's not a real bracelet. It's so silly.
Yeah.
And you know what? The whole bracelet thing is silly. The World Series of Poker, it's a tradition. The reason people want bracelets is because there's a long time tradition of bracelets representing the best that poker has to offer. I don't think a bracelet is any better than an EPT title or a WPT title or even a circuit ring. People need to it's a game. They have to have fun with it. It's a game. If you
What do
win
you
the game, you've won. If people say it's not a real bracelet, it's a real bracelet. It looks exactly like the other bracelet. I could engrave.
Except for this one has pink this year.
No, yeah, but the one I have is exactly like the one that the men's win. I could engrave on the back Omaha, high, low, no limit, or whatever that is, and nobody would be any the wiser. I actually bought a bracelet from a friend of mine that got it at a pawn shop, and I know whose bracelet it is, but it had the person's name on the top, and he took the person's name off because he was wearing it around because he wanted everyone to think it was his. So I think I went off on a tangent. I was going to say like really political things about
that
the
was
ladies
good.
event, but
Let's go back to
that was good. Please shut up, Phil. Helmuth coming in soon. So about the tournament.
let's
About
go back
the
to
tournament.
TLC, 'cause
Okay,
it's
about the
important to
tournament
you.
of champions.
Right, and why you wanna be on
It
it.
is really important to me, and this is another thing. I see poker. There's lots of different kinds of poker. There's real poker, which would be a tournament, even the ladies' tournament, and then there's television poker. And television poker, I come from show business. They're making a show. You know, if you see, what was that show? Face the Ace, and some truck driver beat, I don't know, somebody like Phil Ivey, heads up and won $1 million. Is he a better player than Phil Ivey? No, but it's a good TV show. And I think Tournament of Champions, the reason they said, why don't you vote, is because ESPN is trying to make a television show. And they're trying to make a television show with people that they want to see, that the audience wants to see play poker.
And you would make good TV.
Yeah, but I thought, oh my God, if I make it into Tournament of Champions, I'm not going to be able to open up any poker websites or go to any blogs for like a month because there's going to be like such a furor about how I shouldn't be in the Tournament of Champions because I don't have a real bracelet. So I thought, I'll just concentrate on my, my hair and makeup and making myself look cute and just sort of ignore the furor. I guess I shouldn't say that. I should make myself sound like, no, I mean, I will concentrate on my game and just ignore all the fallout.
And closing it
all
out.
the
And finishing
political
the draw.
fallout.
And winning that tournament.
Right. But I'm actually a really good poker player. It's funny because everybody always remembers that one hand where I checked the
Patrick Antonius hand?
yeah, where I checked the river, and I don't want to defend it, but here it goes. Phil said you can never defend that hand. But he goes, no, Jennifer, that was terrible play. But it wasn't. Okay, yeah, it was really bad play. But the thing is, here's my defense. Sometimes when a baby is just learning to walk and they fall over a lot, you can't go to them when they're 16 years old and go, ha, 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 you fall over, you can't
Right.
even walk. Yeah, well, then you say, well, I couldn't walk because I was just learning to crawl, and gravity is a bitch, but now I can walk just fine. And I just want people to remember I was just starting out. I'm flung onto television. I'm playing against Patrick Antonius, who is like poker god, and I really did feel like he could possibly have King Jack or pocket kings. There's a lot of hands he could have had to beat me. 3. And I just wanted to be on television a little bit longer, and I thought, I'm pretty sure I have the best hand, but if I don't have the best hand, I'm out if I raise him or bet. And if I do have the best hand, then this pot's big enough for me. I'm a nice person.
Right.
I don't want to felt Patrick Antonius. I'll just take what's in the pot right there. So
Let's say that Phil Locke had won that bracelet against Johnny Chan.
Right.
And now you're both competing for the
Right.
Tournament of Champions.
Right.
How competitive would you have your own prop bets on it? Do you think he would maybe take some of your votes away, siphon some of your votes away? Do you think
Well,
it's
I think
gonna
if, I think if Phil is immensely popular during the World Series of Poker, when we're walking down the hall, he gets mobbed more than me. In fact, sometimes I say, I don't want to walk into the Rio with you because it's just such a clusterfuck.
It's fun.
Oh,
Clusterfuck's fun.
And sometimes he'll stop because he'll stop to sign autographs, and a crowd will grow, and I'll just slip away. So I'm positive if it was Phil was up for the bracelet, he would. I mean, up for the Tournament of Champions for sure. He would get voted in. Also, too, Phil's been helping me. He's been twittering, "Don't forget to vote for my girl," and I'm pretty sure he would be twittering, "Don't forget to vote for me."
We have confirmation that you can swear.
Oh, I can. Okay, good. But I shouldn't because it just looks so classless. It's funny, like when I'm around my friends and I'm swearing, I think it's, incredibly funny. And, oh, yeah, I'm a ballsy girl. I'm a man's man. I use bad words. And then when I hear other women swear, I think, oh, that sounds awful. That sounds really low class. So I'm trying not to swear as much, especially on but, you have a tremendous sense of freedom when you're in the media and you're allowed to say bad words. Like when I do a lot of poker television in England, and because it's on after 10 o'clock, you can say whatever you want. And the first time I said a bad word on television, I felt such a tremendous sense of freedom. Like, we're in England now where the prudes don't reign. And they actually used it in the trailer. So I was saying it every single week. I go, shut the fuck up, Roland. And they just used it in the trailer. I think they thought that was tremendously entertaining.
Has there ever been on that kind of sort of note, a line in a movie that you've had that you're like, okay, I don't really want to say this one, or this one's a little over the line, over the top for me?
I was so prudish when I first came to Hollywood. Like, thank God I got over that. But I was like, I'm never going to do any nudity, and I'm not going to do. I had so many ideals that of course, I became totally corrupted by Hollywood and got too bound. I'm making out with Gina Gershon. My breasts are flapping around. And then I went on Broadway. I did The Women, and I did full frontal nudity. I played the Joan Crawford part, and there's a place where she's rolling around the bathtub. And I said to the director, I've always wanted to be naked on Broadway. And so there's a terrifying moment where I lunge out of the bathtub full frontal. And I had to grow my pubic hair in because it's set in 1937. Isaac Mizrahi said, not Mizrahi, Isaac Mizrahi said, Jennifer, you really have to do something about your pubic hair. Brazilians are not, period. So I was like, ew. So anyway.
Are we recording?
So anyway, the first line that I really remember I didn't want to say was in 1984. And I did a movie called Rented Lips with Robert Downey Jr. and Martin Mull. Martin Mull wrote it. And there was a line where I'm saying to him, well, I didn't really want to date you because I thought you were an asshole. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to say asshole. That's such a bad word. I remember feeling
So like within 10 years, you came from there to Bound. So.
Yes, how the mighty have fallen. Well, I started thinking, like, there was one movie where, the first movie where I did nudity was The Getaway. And I thought, every time you read a script and you see nudity, you say, oh, that'll come right out. And a lot of times it'll have the writers are bored. It's 2 a.m. They start writing like sort of semi-porn, and they think that'll sell it, which it does. But when you're an actress, you come in and you say, well, I'm going to do that, but I don't want to do that. And usually they take it out. But in The Getaway, they made the actresses sign a thing before they even came in an audition saying if they did it, they would do the nudity. So that was my first experience. It was pretty liberating. It was breezy, and you're like, wow, I did this, I can do anything. I mean, I don't advocate it for people as self-empowerment, but, sometimes when you do things that you don't think you can do, you're changed, not necessarily for the better.
Now, after we did our
But thank God there's not going to be any more naked Jennifer Tilly from here on out, not even airbrushed naked Jennifer Tilly.
Unless
yes,
the perfect script for Bound 2 comes out.
Yeah, but that'll be, if the perfect script for Bound 2 comes out and you see a fantastic looking girl making out with Gina Gershon, it's a body double.
Which is good for all of us.
Yeah, it's good for all of us.
Any other questions?
Real quick, an update for the other Phil, our scheduled guest for today, from his publicist. Damn him, his phone keeps going straight to voicemail. I hate when he does this.
Oh.
So he was supposed to play the noon tournament today.
Right.
and he was going to come in late for it, like he normally does.
Right.
And he's not in the building yet.
Well, it's not like Phil to be flaky. Well, this is really unfortunate for your viewers who are like, God, oh my God, is she ever going to shut up? Is Phil coming in?
We could talk about Phil since he's not here yet.
All right.
I mean, in your Phil, we could talk about the two Phils because they're
Right.
they're both on TV this week.
Yes.
Because of the big game.
Yes.
Started airing last night.
Yeah, Phil did very well, and I don't want to do a spoiler, but you know, the funny thing is when Phil first started playing on high stakes poker, there's a big joke about, I saw Phil playing 10-20 at the Bellagio, and Phil's like, so that's what I play.
Right.
And I think people, because they see him on high stakes poker and he's throwing big bricks of money around, they think that he should always be playing 100, 200. But the first time we played high stakes poker, he had never played a game that high before. But you know, we all know that my Phil is a fame whore, and we have a phrase that we throw around our house: is guaranteed television time. I mean, that's better than anything. That's better than chocolate. Guaranteed television time. That's why we travel all the way to England. We just got back from Cardiff, Wales, to shoot a television show because we love being on TV. And so high stakes poker, he was like, his bankroll was not what it is today. And we were both incredibly worried for him. And hence there's all these pictures where I'm in the background looking like he's about to get hit by a truck or something, just really worried. And people are saying, well, what's going on with Jennifer? I looked like Yoko Ono. It looked like I was there for weeks, but we really only filmed for one day. But he played that game, and then he started playing higher games, and then high stakes poker decided to be more entertaining if the game was bigger, and then so of course he had to play bigger, and now he's really comfortable at those high levels. And this game, the game that's on tonight,
It's a big game.
It's the biggest game ever. I think it's 100, 200 with $100 ante. It's a huge.
Yeah, one guy is
Huge.
given $100,000 to play
And
with.
and Jason Calacanis.
And
who's-
Jason from this weekend / Mahalo. Jason plays next week.
Oh, he does really.
Yeah.
Oh,
He-
then I'm
he-
going to get to see what the
Yeah.
elusive Jason looks like.
He was invited to play, and he
Did he bring his own bankroll?
He did
Did
bring-
Wicked Chop sponsor
he-
him?
he did. I think he
How
blogged.
come you guys don't wear like Wicked Chop's logos?
Because we don't want to get beat up and
Right.
hit, punch in the face.
But he did. He bought it. He paid for himself.
Wow.
No sponsor for it.
How did
And
he do? Good. You don't want to do a spoiler,
I
right?
I don't want to spoil it. So you have to tune in next week. But I think he blogged about it where he checked into the hotel and he had like a rack of $200,000, and he went up and down. And we'll have to watch next week.
It's
But
pretty amazing.
and Phil, and this may not work, but because you are an actor. What if you found from inside you to become Phil? And
Inside me
we
to become
interviewed you
Phil?
as Phil.
Right now?
Right now.
As Phil, my boyfriend?
No, Phil Hellmuth.
Oh, Phil Hellmuth, I don't think I could do that. No, you mean to talk about, no, I don't think I could do that. I'm not really good with imitations, but nice try.
Oh, we're just trying to figure out whatever we can do to get you votes.
Oh, right. I don't think that'll
It's the Jennifer Tilly WSOP .com /
yes,
COC
vote for me last chance.
telethon.
Oh wait, where's the television? Where's the camera? Whose camera is that?
That
Yours?
one's mine.
Okay.
That one's yours.
Yeah, last chance to vote for Jennifer Tilly, WSOP /TOC / the reason why I think people should vote for me is I think every horse race has to have an underdog. Okay, I'm mixing my metaphors. But in horse races, they always have the dark horse that's like 300 to 1, and it's really exciting when that horse comes in.
Mind that bird, Kentucky Derby
Especially
last year.
you vote for it because it has a funny name, like, Pink Dahlias. And you're like, oh, I love pink and I love flowers. I'm going to vote for that horse. And then everybody gets really mad at you because there's no science behind voting for that horse. And it comes in and you get $300 for the $1 that you put in. Well, I think that that's what makes it interesting. If you have people, and I think that that's why they had, like, for example, some people were grumbling that Elke is going to be in it because he doesn't have a bracelet.
Right.
Elke is like one of the most brilliant and exciting poker players there is. I, for one, would love to watch Elke on TV. And then you also have an online qualifier. I think he came from Canada or, some of the wild regions yonder. I'm Canadian, that's why I can say that. And, it's also interesting to see a normal person sitting opposite all the sharks and trying to survive. I think that that's marginally interesting. And then I think it's very interesting to see Jennifer Tilly, hear grinding noises, see her brain trying to work, see her trying to figure out what's going on. That makes for good TV. And I actually, you know what, I make fun of myself because I might as well join the crowd. But I'm actually a super good player, I think. I honestly think I'm really good because I'm unpredictable.
And you have a bracelet.
And I have a bracelet.
You have a bracelet.
Yeah. So I honestly think people should vote for me. And yeah.
We got a question for you. So we thought that a really good name for a drink would be a drunken gentilly.
A drunken gentilly?
What would be in a drunken gentilly?
Well, there's a restaurant in Los Angeles. If you ever go to Los Angeles, it's my friend's restaurant, Taste. And if you go in the back, there's a life-size picture of me standing on a ladder in Italy picking spaghetti off a tree. So if you're going to the bathroom, you're stumbling on your way to the bathroom, and you run into this picture, and you say, oh my God, who is this? She looks vaguely familiar. It's me. And so they have a drink there. It's called the Tilitini, and they invented it because when we go to France, I'm very budget conscious. And you know, if you order like one little champagne cocktail, it's 15 euros, but you can order a whole bottle of Veuve Clicquot and a little glass of Chambord and a little bowl of strawberries and raspberries, and you squish the strawberries and raspberries in with the champagne, and you pour the Chambord, and you make your own cocktails. And it's girly, and it's pink, and it's refreshing. And so that's what they call the Tilitini at Taste. So if you go there, you can order that drink. But let's see. If I was inventing a drink for myself, what would it be? It would have to be something that matches my outfits. So I wear a lot of black. It would have to be a black drink, I guess. Except for, you know, I drink a lot of red wine and then on television, and then I notice my mouth turns purple. So I guess it would have to be, here's what it would be. It would be a clear drink, and you could serve it in a tumbler, so it looks like you're drinking water when you're on television. So I guess that would just be vodka, right?
Yeah.
Vodka.
Vodka. Vodka with a slice of lime to make it look like water.
Gluten-free Charles just signaled to us that
I
we have 5
noticed
minutes.
him. Out of the corner of my eye, my television experience said, I think he wants me to wind it up. Did you see how fast I finished up my
I
little
know.
drink saga? Gluten-free, who?
Gluten-free Charles.
I like that. You look very fine. That's very, very, very healthy and cut.
When we're trying to get gluten-free Charles,
A sponsorship?
you should like that name though, gluten-free Charles. It kind of it's got good alliteration.
It's better than Creepin'.
Yeah, it's a lot better than Creepin' Charles.
Yeah, I think so.
So, do we have any other questions?
Let's see.
He's going through Twitter. He's like, that's rude. That's rude. Can't ask her that. Don't want to get slapped.
Black drink, so Jaeger. They're talking about Taste on Melrose. That's the restaurant.
On Melrose, and also the one in Santa Monica, there's 2 restaurants.
There's 2 tastes.
I'm actually bigger in the one, it's in the Pacific Palisades. The picture of me is actually bigger and it's better.
You're picking spaghetti off a tree?
I'm picking spaghetti off
Okay.
here. We went to Tuscany, and my friend said his dad said when you go to Italy that the spaghetti grows on trees. So we shot the picture as a gag for his dad.
Okay.
And then my friends bought it. My friend was gay, and we were not that has anything to do with anything, but we were in some beautiful hotel, and my friend Paul wanted to take pictures of 2 lovers, and so we were kissing, you know, just for the photo. And as a gift to his dad that really didn't want him to be gay, he sent him the picture, and his dad said, "If that doesn't cure you, nothing will."
I love it.
All right.
No more questions for Gentil?
No more questions? Wow.
Now someone just voted twice for Jen.
I love that. When you said no more questions, I thought, wow,
Yeah,
I
so
sent
they're all-
everybody
they're
into
all
a
busy.
stupor of
We're all
action.
busy voting.
Yes.
No, they're all at WSOP.com/ I feel like they're responsible.
Oh, and I want to say something about the ladies tournament.
Yes.
I played the ladies tournament. I really enjoyed it. I met lovely ladies from all over the world. I'm telling you, you know, there's an argument that these women are going to go into the regular tournaments if there's no ladies tournament. These ladies are not going into the regular tournaments. I'd say
They're
maybe
just kind of coming to play and have
maybe
fun.
7% of these ladies will be going into the regular tournament. But I have been playing every single tournament. I have tournament fatigue. And I think the fact that there's a ladies tournament does not necessarily mean that women are not going to be playing the other tournaments. The ones that want to play the other tournaments will.
We got the 2-minute mark. From
I know,
Gluten
I
Free
saw
Charles.
gluten-free Charles. Chill. He's so stressed out. You
What
can
happens
cut
when
some
you-
stuff
when you're-
out of the
when you lack
middle.
gluten?
Is this a live stream?
Yes, this
It
is
is
a
a
live
live
stream.
You can't cut anything out, but still, whatever. We go a minute over.
Yeah.
How much are you getting paid? He's getting paid by the hour. He's like, I don't want to be here 1 minute
Yeah.
after.
How much are you getting paid,
Overtime.
Gluten Free Charles?
Is it? It must be too much because he doesn't want to tell.
Yeah, he's shaking his head in a really disgusted sort of way.
And normally
For the nickname.
we don't have another show. Normally, if there's not a show after this, we can keep going. There's
I
not,
would
there's
really
not a hard
prefer
time.
not to keep going. I have a feeling the more I talk, the more I'm losing fans. I always hate to do shows because I'm like, I know I'm going to say something stupid that's going to go on YouTube. So I basically came out here to support you guys. I
Thank
love
you.
your website. I love looking at all the hot girls and pretending that they're me.
Yeah.
And
You were asking us the other day if we could expect Ask Girl to show up.
yes, I'm very excited about Ask Girls' continued participation in the sordid, seedy world of poker. you were saying that she's going to be a poker hostess, right?
She's supposed
Trying to.
she auditioned for a show
Uh-huh.
and was runner-up or in the top 3.
Oh, well, if she makes it,
So-
maybe you can convince her to do all her readings from behind. Coming up next.
Well, one last time, go to WSOP.com/TOC. Vote for Jennifer Tilley.
Vote for
some of the other.
Jennifer Tilley.
We have, like 8 hours, maybe even less, till voting
Yes.
closes.
Yes, 8 hours.
So you're probably, we know you're in the top 50. You're probably
Yes.
approaching the top 20.
I
so
am,
get out there
I
and
am
vote.
in the top 50. Get out there and vote. Piss off people by getting me in. I know there'll be a lot of angry people if I get in. So, anger is a good thing. Let's open a discussion.
Zach De La Roca said anger is a gift.
Yes.
Rage Against the Machine. All right, that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And vote for Jennifer Tilley. Final word for our sponsors.
I'd just like to thank Victory Poker again. If everyone that's watching us, we've had about 100 people watching us live, which is
Really?
better than 2.
100. That's fantastic.
100 live, and they've stayed steady. But if 100 people right now could go to Twitter or to our Facebook wall and thank at victory_poker for this show, and we'd also like to thank Harris for letting us do this show live from the Rio and thisweekend.com.
Thank you. Join us next week.
And our guest, Jennifer Tilley.
I believe we might be switching times next week. We may go to 4 p.m.
Yeah, we're hoping it's scheduled to go to 2. We need to talk to this weekend. We think if we move to 4, we'll have more of a chance of getting players on because there's the noon start.
It's hard
If you
to
play-
wake up.
No, I know. And if you're playing a day 2, it's 2:30.
Yeah.
And there's a 5 p.m. start, so we might have a better opportunity.
Dream
Right.
on.
Regardless, we will be on next week. We'll either be on at 1 p.m. Pacific time or 4 p.m. Pacific time. Hope you can join it. Hope you can enjoy it. We can download the show where, or the show gets posted where afterwards?
It'll be posted at thisweekend.com, and then there's a drop-down menu, select poker. It will also be archived on wickedchopspoker.com and possibly on rawvegas.tv.
Great. Thank you again. Thank you for joining us on the first This Week in Poker, and we'll see you next week.
And do you have music playing us out?